Well, excited to be in game week finally, and players have worked hard, the coaches have worked hard. Excited to see our fans and the red and white game, the students. Several of them came out for our mock game on Saturday, and looking forward to having them in the stands again. And just being a part of the Carter-Finley game day experience. And you start your 2018 season really in January, and so a lot of time and effort goes into it. A lot of meetings, a lot of lifts, a lot of runs, a lot of mental time, a lot of practice, a lot of injury reports, a lot of everything, a lot of talking. It's finally time to play, and we get to play a great team. Have great respect for Coach Houston and his staff. I think Donnie Kirkpatrick and Coach Shank, Steve Shankwaller, was with us last year there now, and their defensive coordinator, Coach Trott, and they've got a really good staff. And their players, winning 28 games in 2 seasons. They've played a lot of football. 30 games in 2 years is a lot of games. And so they've got a lot of guys, even though they lost a lot of starters in some areas, they got a lot of guys that have played and expect to win just like we do. And so look forward to the game, look forward to the atmosphere of the game, look forward to seeing our players. Some of them that we know kind of what they can do, and some of them that we're excited to see what game day does to them. And I think that's part of the journey is what truly happens when the lights come on and the kick goes up, and seeing what some of these younger players can do that we've either redshirted or that are brand new with us that are going to play. So, just talking specifically about James Madison, waiting to see who their starting quarterback is. Haven't heard yet, so we're preparing for both. Very impressed with their tailbacks. We know a lot about Marcus Marshall. Obviously, Trey Sharp, both of them are North Carolina natives, and Carden Johnson did not play, last year with an injury, but is back and really good player. I think their tailbacks are excellent players. Big receiver outside, Riley Stapleton, number 10, who finished the season really strong for him, 6'5". All 5 of their offensive linemen have started in games, and so they have good experience there. Defensively, similar to us, they lost quite a few players there on their defense, their front, and defensive end, 47. Darius Carter is back, and 14 TFLs and 8.5 sacks, was a disruptive player. I was very impressed with Carter, defensive tackle for them last year. I think he wore number 15, he's wearing number 5 now. I was impressed with him on film. I think their 2 corners are exceptional players. They've both played a ton of football. They make a lot of plays. They're confident players. And so that matchup, for us, obviously our receiving core, we think is really good. And so that's going to be a big matchup in the game. And then the special teams aspect, in game 1, obviously that's a big area for both football teams, and how we're going to catch it and kick it and, protect our punter and rush their punter and all the things that go with it. So I look forward to that part of the game and the 3rd phase, but obviously a very important phase for us. So I know Chris Dunn is excited to get out there, as are some of the other young guys. So it'll be fun to see them play for the first time. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
With this new redshirt rule, how much does the non-conference schedule feel like almost an extended training camp for some of these younger players, where you get more chances to evaluate them and evaluate them in these game situations?
I think there's various ways you can look at it. We're not looking at it as an experimental deal where it's a scrimmage where we're going to see what they can do. They're either ready or they're not ready. And some of them are ready to play, and some of them are backups to positions, and if there's injuries, they will play. There's others that are not ready to play. And the beauty of this is, in 4 to 6 weeks, they may be, this first month of school where they're on the scout team, getting into a routine and settling in, all of a sudden they may be less nervous, or things may click, and they're more ready to play at mid-season. And so that's kind of how we're approaching it. I'm not going to use the opportunity to throw a guy in just to see what he can do. Game day is not an experiment, and that's what we do for a living, and we're going to make sure the guys that are out there have proven in practice that they're ready to play.
Just going through the depth chart on the defensive side, we haven't heard a ton about Keyshawn Miller. And then what was the decision there with Isaiah and Lewis?
starting with the corner position, Keyshawn's been very steady. He's very competitive. He plays the ball well. He's stayed healthy. You know, went through the entire training camp, didn't miss a snap. And really, that's more of it than anything. You know, Chris Ingram was doing really well and then missed a little bit of time, and we think both those guys are going to play and play well. But, you know, when you're talking about two guys being close in a competition and one guy practiced a lot more than the other, that's kind of how it goes, you know. At Mike linebacker, Isaiah is playing really fast, and so is Lewis. We feel good about both of those guys playing. Just more consistent, more than anything probably than Lewis. I think there's just fewer mistakes during training camp, but we feel like both those guys, you know, are guys that can help us and play well.
Looking at the depth chart again, Tyler Baker-Williams, the guy that makes it there as the or at backup running back. Obviously coming from playing wide receiver, was that more of a move of necessity, or is that something that he did to stand out throughout camp?
Well, you know, going into training camp, we had a lot of running backs, and then all of a sudden we had only a couple. And so it was really like, all right, who on our team has been in a role where they could carry the football and do a good job? And Tyler in high school played everywhere. I mean, he was a Wildcat quarterback, he was a receiver, he was a DB, he was a linebacker. He did all kinds of stuff on his team. And we do a lot of crossover drills to see, you know, how guys can run with interceptions even. And the guy showed a lot of movement, you know, as a runner. And just talking to the staff, you know, if we're going to move someone from defense to offense, who would have the best chance of just coming over and sticking and not, you know, sitting there for a week until somebody came back, because we didn't want to invest reps in a player that we didn't feel like could stay there. Tyler was doing well on defense, so, you know, we just felt like putting him there while Ricky was out and while Trent was out. Reggie had a few days he couldn't go. Gave us a player that if they didn't come back could stay there and play, and to his credit, he did a nice job. He's very athletic, he catches the ball well with his receiver background, but he can see, he's got good vision. He's natural with the ball in his hands. So I don't know if it's a career move for him, but for the time being, it's a place that he's done a really good job, and we feel comfortable with him back there.
Speak to Reggie Gillespie's overall physical condition, and also will Nakia Robinson and Trent Penix have a chance to play?
Well, they do have a chance to play. Reggie's our starting tailback. We feel great about him right now. Excited for Reggie. He's in good shape. He's in a great place personally. You know, I think he's just one of those seniors that you can just kind of see is ready for his senior year and has put the time in, the work in. Behind Reggie, you know, we've got a bunch of young guys, and until we get out there and play, I mean, Nakia is a guy that's redshirted but not played in a game yet. We feel like Trent Penix early in camp was going to be a really, really good player, and then he missed, you know, about 20 practices there. So he's been back with us now for about a week, and he's looked good. But we're not going to rush the process with them, and we'll see. I mean, it's Monday. You know, by the end of the week, he may be the number 2 tailback. I don't know. But, you know, you're asking me for a 2 deep on Monday, so you got one. All right.
What was wrong with Reggie that he said didn't go a couple practices recently?
Yeah. Well, you know, he's had some different issues in his legs, and so whenever they get fatigued, we're just careful with it. We don't want it to be a deal where he's out for a long period of time, and it's really just managing swelling. You know, when you have guys that have anything wrong with the knee or an ankle, and all of a sudden you have a hard day on it, or sore, you don't want to push it to the point of injury. And so for him, it was just kind of giving him time to recover.
From the outside, it feels like things are running hot for you. Things are going good for you. Are you the kind of person who tries to ride that momentum, or would you like to hit me because I'm saying things are going well for you?
Hit you?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to hit you, Joe. That's a probably cost me my job type move, and
Metaphor.
we're not going to do it. No, but I don't even know what your question was now.
When it's going well, first of all, do you think it's going well?
It is.
From the outside, it feels that way.
No, it is.
And when it is going well, do you try to enjoy that, or are you more worried about a shoe that could possibly drop?
No, I mean, I'm not a negative person. I don't sit there and worry about things that haven't happened. You know, I think my job is to try to build on where we are and make it better, and try to make sure that the people around me that are helping me do it, you know, are staying on task, and that our vision doesn't change, and that we don't get a big head. You know, I mean, it wasn't long ago people weren't talking about us like that, and quickly, as everybody knows, things can change. So it's just trying to win the day. In my job, it's making sure the players' minds are in the right place and their hearts. And you know, if I can just handle it one day at a time, like I'm asking my players to, then things continue to stay the way they are, and that's how I look at it. But you know, I'm excited about the trajectory of our program for sure. I love being with the guys, and I think our staff's doing a great job. Recruiting's going well, and just keep doing the things that we've been doing and keep it that way.
How much confidence do you have in Ryan Finley heading into this home opener this weekend?
I mean, on 1 to 10, 11. Yeah, I mean, I think the guy's in a great place mentally, and he works hard. He's got great teammates that he trusts, and coaches, and the system, and you know, physically he's doing everything he needs to do. So he's just got to go out and play. But, I mean, he couldn't ask for a guy to have put himself in a better position going into his last year.
Dave, you know you can count on Sculthorpe as basically your sixth offensive lineman. Who else has kind of stepped up there who might be number 7?
You know, our depth on the O-line is in a much better place than it's been. You know, I think Philip Walton really took advantage of a bunch of reps in training camp. I think Tyrone Riley, you know, him and Witt were neck and neck there for a while. And Tyrone got pneumonia, which is kind of weird in the middle of the hottest training camp ever. So he missed a week, and now he's back. But, you know, that set him back. But as far as what he was doing, him and Justin Witt were right next to each other in the competition. And it's like we're at a disco now. But, you know, feel really good about the two deep. And Emmanuel McGirt, you know, is finally healthy and had a good training camp. And so the depth there is better than it's been.
Going back to Ryan for a second, I think he said, you know, every choice is an individual one, but how much did it help for you to have the example of Chubb as somebody who came back, becomes the number 5 pick in the draft, to say to a guy, hey,
yeah,
if you do this, this is how it can work out?
Well, it gives you a frame of reference for him to look at, you know, because there's a lot of pieces to it. I mean, there's players are allowed to get insurance, you know, if they're rated that high as a player, and so Bradley went through that. So hey, your parents can talk to his parents, you can talk to him, and so it's not just this is what coach said, I have to believe it. You know, I mean, he can talk to a teammate that's been through it. I think that's helpful, and it is different. I mean, quarterbacks are looked at differently than D linemen, but it's still somebody that he can, you know, have a frame of reference to in the decision process. Yep.
Coach James Madison's not a household name, but you got the guys' attention. To
Oh, yeah.
You know, they are really good. I mean, the guys got their attention.
Yeah, I think when you say that, you know, in the last 2 years, this team's 14-1, 14-1, been to back-to-back national championship games, it doesn't take long, you know. And our guys, you know, everyone's singing our praises and this and that, but it's a new year. I mean, we got to go earn it. And no matter what you want to be, game 1 is game 1. You want to be 1-0 at the end of it. It gives you more opportunity than being 0-1, you know. And so our focus is on them, there's no doubt, but I still think game 1 is a lot about not beating you. In last year's game, we beat ourselves. You know, we lost the turnover margin in the game 1 and won every other battle on the field and lost the game. And so that was a great thing for us to be able to talk about, because a lot more games are lost than won in the first couple weeks of the season, you know. And so we're really, really focused not just on them, but on us, you know, on the I mean, you look at them, I mean, they were plus 22 in turnover margin last year as a football team. It's incredible. I mean, 44 turnovers they forced on defense. And so we got to take care of the football, and we got to get it back. And that's kind of what, I mean, you put 44 turnovers up there, the whole offense is like, wow. You know, I mean, it's a big point of emphasis for our guys.
Coach, do you also think that the local kids will be coming back to play running back against you guys?
Oh, sure.
Obviously, they'll be motivated, won't they?
Of course. I mean, I think everybody's motivated, you know. But, you know, I mean, I've been at that level and have great respect for for that level of football, and those players are going to come in here flying high, and they should. It's a great opportunity for them as a program and for them as players, and our players are no different. I mean, you got to respect the game. You're not going to win it if you don't.
Where is Stephen Griffin at in terms of his health and availability?
Stephen started practicing again last week, and so we're just slowly getting him back to where he needs to be. He looked really good in the mock game, and so we'll have him for more of practice tomorrow than we had him for the last day, and we'll keep going that direction until we feel like he's got the stamina and everything else. But if he continues, you know, Saturday we'll have to see where we're at, but feel really good about the progress he's made so far since he got back.